Good morning, boys and girls. How are you doing today? Miss Reichert here. I invaded my kids' reading space in the basement, so today I'm going to be reading Chapter 8, Gold Means Secrets. I did not know what to do. We needed food. The miller had the food, and he wanted gold. I had lots of gold, spun into perfect little coils with my mother's spinning wheel. Spun with magic that Red insisted was dangerous. "Where are the rations?" Gran asked. I was empty-handed, having thrown away the sack full of sawdust. "I suppose I didn't find enough gold," I said, looking at my feet. "Well, I'll go to the miller and give him a piece of my mind." Gran rose up from her chair, then staggered and fell back. "Gran!" I rushed to her, but she waved me away. "Only a little dizzy spell." She closed her eyes and took a few breaths. Her hands shook. She needed food. I would have to take some of the gold to the miller. Maybe I could mix the coils with some dirt and other gold flecks and pebbles from the mines. He might not notice a difference, but a dark feeling rose inside of me. If the miller was as greedy as he seemed, he would notice. So I kept the gold hidden and hoped that the miller had only made a mistake with the sack of sawdust. "We will make do," Gran said. "We have the chickens and the goat, so we won't starve." We killed one of our 2 hens. The meat would have to last us until the next rations day. Gran and I ate in silence. Eating the chicken should have been a celebration, a great luxury, but we were both melancholy. My gaze kept wandering to the spinning wheel and to my bed, where the gold was hidden. Gran followed my gaze. "I hope you haven't touched that wheel," she said. "You don't know how to work it properly. You could hurt yourself." Did my mother hurt herself? I asked. The question flew out of my mouth without warning. Gran froze with a bit of chicken raised to her mouth. She lowered her hands. "Why would you ask such a thing?" "Why didn't you tell me she was from yonder?" "Who told you that?" Gran asked. "Red." "Red, yes. Well, her grandmother." "What did my mother spin?" I asked. Gran stiffened. "What did she spin? What do people usually spin? Why, have you?" She looked from the wheel back to me. I could see her struggling, trying to decide what to say. "Your mother spun trouble," she said, and then left it in my hands. "Is that how you think of me?" I asked. "As the trouble she left?" "Oh, child," Rump shouted. "My name is Rump." Gran's eyes were shiny with tears. "You are my grandson, Rump. I have always loved you. I have always tried to protect you, and I will do my best to protect you now. Do not concern yourself with your mother or her spinning wheel. It will only bring you sorrow." I didn't ask any more. I felt strange, like things had shifted around me when I wasn't looking, but I didn't know what it meant. The strangeness crept into my dream that night. A woman was spinning by the fireplace. She had long black hair and green eyes, like mine. I had never seen this woman before, but I knew she was my mother. She was spinning straw into gold. She smiled at the gold at first, and then the glittering skeins piled around her feet, like the golden pool. But as the pile grew larger, her smile faded. Her spinning slowed and seemed to be difficult, but still the same. The pile grew and grew and grew, spreading wider and rising higher. When the gold reached my mother's chin, she looked panicked, like she was submerged in water and didn't know how to swim. When it reached her eyes, they were full of fear. Finally, the gold covered her whole head, and I couldn't see her anymore. But the pile of gold still grew. When it reached the ceiling, I woke up. And that, boys and girls, is the end of Chapter 8.